Hello movie fans and welcome to Lost in the Reel. Today I'm going to be covering the new Netflix psychological thriller, I Came By. Does this film deliver on the suspense and tension, or does it completely fall apart by the end? Let's talk about it. I Came By is directed by Bonneville. It stars George MacKay, Purcell Ascot, Kelly MacDonald, and Hugh Bonneville. The film follows a young graffiti artist who discovers a shocking secret that would put him and the ones closest to him in danger. The best psychological thrillers are able to keep you on the edge of your seat and constantly subvert your expectations. And it's always a plus when they throw in a good twist or two and have some kind of important message masked behind the tension. Writer-director Baba Kanvari attempts to do all of those things and more with his new Netflix film, I Came By. And at first, he succeeds on nearly every level, and I thought that this could be a real sleeper hit for the streaming giant. But it all comes crashing down by the end, creating one of the more frustrating watches of the year. I went in knowing very little because luckily the editors of the trailer did a good job of hiding a lot of I Came By's many secrets. And this is definitely a movie that you want to go in as blindly as possible for because it does deliver on the twists and turns. So while this is a non-spoiler review, if you don't want to know anything more, come back and watch this once you finish the film. One of the best examples of subverting expectations in film is when Alfred Hitchcock made you believe that Psycho was going to be completely centered around Marion Crane. The master of suspense then pulled the rug out from under audiences completely, leading us to realize that anything could happen in the remainder of the movie. And Bari plays with this false sense of security in I Came By, toying with the viewer's assumptions of who the main protagonist is and where the story is leading us. He also experiments with the passage of time, as it's rarely clear if it's a day that has passed in the story, a month, or even a year. The film is constantly making us question what we actually know and what we have yet to discover. These plot machinations in the screenplay are really what make this Netflix original stand out from the rest of the crowd. It's not very often that I can say that I had absolutely no idea where a movie was going, but truly every prediction that I came up with during I Came By would always end up being squashed just seconds later. It's a testament to the script's effectiveness that I was constantly one step behind, racing to catch up, but never felt like I was lost or losing interest. Where it all ends up leading is where my issues lie, however, but I will get to that in a second. What I Came By also has going for it is a superb cast. Our main players here are George MacKay as a graffiti artist trying to fight back against the rich and the powerful, Purcell Ascot as his best friend, partner in crime, and a soon-to-be father, his widowed mother played by Kelly MacDonald, and Paddington and Downton Abbey's Hugh Bonneville playing completely against type as a sadistic retired judge. These four performers all give so much depth to their characters and elevate the sometimes clunky dialogue and lapses in logic the film contains. Ascot is definitely a performer I will be keeping a close eye on in the future, as he was the only one in the cast that I was unfamiliar with. The young actor really leaves an impression here, especially in some of the final scenes of the movie. As strong as the others are, Hugh Bonneville steals every scene he is in, and in doing so, pretty much runs off with the film. He plays Sir Hector Blake with such psychotic precision that you honestly might never be able to watch his performance in Paddington the same again. Bonneville is definitely what holds this movie together, as I Came By progressively convolutes itself. The sheer fact that you can't stop watching until you see what becomes of this vile human being proves how compelling his performance is. But no matter how fantastic the cast is, or how refreshing the twisty narrative structure can be, I could not get over the fact that this film cannot sustain the weight of its lofty ambitions. I started I Came By being impressed with how different and unique it was, yet ultimately I became irritated that it didn't go a more simplistic route. Similar movies such as Disturbia and Don't Breathe benefited from keeping things straightforward and focusing primarily on just being a solid thrill ride. Unfortunately, that doesn't seem to be enough for our writer-director, who ends up overcomplicating the whole thing until it's too far gone. Sometimes throwing everything in the kitchen sink into your movie doesn't make it better. On the contrary, it actually muddles what you're trying to say. And it is obvious that Mbari is trying to say a whole lot here about class, race, and social justice, but it never translates into anything remotely thought-provoking because it gets lost in between the lines. I also can't help but think that there has to be some scenes on the cutting room floor that are just screaming to be put back into the film. Because while the final shot makes you feel like everything should be wrapped up in a nice little bow and all has come full circle, I was left with far more questions than I did answers. I really do believe that if the filmmaker had tightened up the script and was actually able to get his message across, then this would be a real slam dunk thriller. I really was on the edge of my seat for most of I Came By's runtime, but by the end, I had fallen off the edge entirely. So I will be giving I Came By 2.75 spray paint cans out of 5. What begins as a brilliantly plotted, extremely tense, and wildly unpredictable thriller ends up going in way too many directions all at once, and in turn, feels like it goes absolutely nowhere. Though it just might be worth a watch for Hugh Bonneville's diabolical performance alone. Thank you so much for watching Lost in the Reel. What are your thoughts on I Came By? Did it all come together in the end for you? And what are some of your favorite performances from an actor or actress who played completely against type? Sound off in the comment section down below. And until next time, my friends, take care.